All right, what is up, Gooder Gang? We've got a great show for you. We got two really good dudes on there. Not only that, better cooks. But what you know what we got to do first? We got to play our little timer. Here we go.
I'm Phil Breeden, owner and founder of LC Barbecue, and you're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show.
Well, hello there. How you doing? I'm Aaron Leslie with Texas Oil Dust, and today you're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cosmo, and you're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. So grab a drink, park your ass, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing.
Hey there, everybody. This is Aaron the Retro Guy, host of the Morning Roast Radio Show, and you're locked in to the So Smokin Gooder Show. Give it to them, fellas.
That's right. What's up, Gooder Gang? Welcome to the show. You know what time it is. It's a little after 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, May the 10th, 2023. Can you believe it? We're already in May. Memphis in May is next weekend, right around the corner. And you know where to be, and that is right here watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. I am your host, Robert Rocha, and I'm coming to you from the Bullhorn headquarters in Cypress, Texas. Damn glad you found this. However, you're tuning in to us on Facebook. Some of you are on Twitch, and a lot of you guys, as I can see, are checking in from the YouTube. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You know, all I ask you to do is share this thing, guys. Just hit that little share button. If you're on YouTube, hit the ring the bell. Do whatever you can. Just like Cosmo said, smash that and do that, and I appreciate that. That's how we get the word out, because tonight we've got a special show. we got a great show. We've got 2 world champions. We got Chris Schafer from Heavy Smoke BBQ. He's coming back on the show. This is not his first time, but we also have what many people, including myself, consider the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Like Tom Brady is the GOAT in football. I think we got one in barbecue, and he's going to be our guest tonight. That's Mr. Darren Warth from Iowa's Smokey D's Barbecue out of Iowa. Yeah, we're gonna have him on tonight, along with Chris Schafer as our special co-host. But before we get to any and all of that, I want to give a special shout out to Rito over at True Blue Foundation. The Grimes County Cook-Off this past weekend was a big success, man. That was a lot of fun. It attracted a lot of teams, a lot of quality teams out there, which was always fun to go and compete against some of the best here in Texas. And she had it. They all converged on Anderson, Texas. Got to compete out there. Did okay. I got a chicken call. Been struggling in brisket. And Chris and I have talked about brisket here recently, but I'm happy to report I got my 3rd brisket call in a row. That's good. But the things, that have been carrying me forever, ribs and pork, let me down this weekend. But that's okay. That's how it goes. Shout out to Robert Smith with First Class Barbecue. He was the grand champion of the event. And his Padawan, Mr. Steve Pfeiffer from Team LFG, he was the reserve grand champion. I think that's Steve's 2nd reserve grand champion. So congratulations, Steve, for all that. But I just want to give a special shout out to Rita over there at the Grimes County True Blue Foundation. That was a great cook-off, and it attracted some of the coolest teams out there. So it's always a good time when you're having fun with your friends and competing. All right. Before we get to our guests, I got to give a shout out to the Gooder gang. Where are they at? Let's go. Let's see who was first in. And that was, of course, Mr. Carlos Calzada. What's up, Gooder gang? Stay blessed. Daddy Dutch checking in. Christian Contreras. Hope you're doing well, my man. This is What's Up, Gooder gang. Let's go. I did send you a shirt, Christian. It got returned, but we'll get it right back out there. Josh Criddle, what is up? Jared McCrory, AJ Garza from God's Country. What's up? Robert Michelle, how are you? Lucky Louie. Louie's dad checking in. What's up, Lucky Louie? Alberto checking in. Samantha Cherry. Hi, Samantha. Haven't seen you in a little while. Big Family Barbecue. Clay Wright, what is up? Rockin' A checking in. Johnny Maggs over on the East Coast. What's up, Johnny Maggs? Smoking Magic. Yeah, they were guests on the show recently. What's up, Smokin Gooder peeps? 2 great guests tonight. Absolutely. We got Kent from Buzzed Barbecue. John Thatcher, what is up? Sean Trainer, he was there in Anderson, Texas this past weekend. Sean Strader, what's up? Serge, I always got to mention that this guy binged watch every show. You deserve a medal, my man. There's Ty Cobb checking in from the Tom Ball VFW. You know what you got to do. You got to drink when you hear that. Old Man's Barbecue, afternoon from South Jersey. What's up, Larry? Thank you so much. Taz checking in from Twitch. What is up? Smoking and toasting. We got Trent Litchka, first place chicken this past weekend. Good job, Trent. Greg Minotti, Louis Gonzalez, Tom and Bell. What's up, Gooder folks? Hi, Tom and Bell. What's up? Mike Cortez. All right, we're getting to it. Armando De Luna from I know the team name. They're a badass team. It'll come to me in a minute. And Bobby Stewart, what's up from up north? All right, guys. That's the Gooder gang checking in. New soundtrack right there. All right, let's time to bring on not our first guest. He's the co-host of the evening, Mr. Chris Schafer from Heavy Smoke BBQ. What is up, my man?
What's up, buddy?
Was that 3 minutes? Isn't that a long time?
Man, it felt like an eternity.
It's always fun though. It brings the people in, my man. And
I like how you like come on like it's gonna start, and then you're like, guys, just hang out for 3 minutes.
It's just a tease, bro. It's just another tease. And we got Chris. And no, people that are asking, this is not Case. Case is not back on the show. This is Chris Schafer, my man, from a Heavy Smoke.
I'm way better looking than Case.
Way better. You got a fuller beard. Case can't grow a beard.
The bar's low, but I'm way better looking than Case. I got two complaints. I got 2 complaints right off the bat.
Let's hear them. What is it?
I don't have a Gooder Gang shirt. You said you sent somebody one.
I need to get you one.
And I cooked in Texas all winter long, and I didn't get a single intro video shot. I mean,
we need to fix that because I need some more intro videos from people that are all. I was talking to Darren. I was like, hey, Darren, what do you know about this show? He goes, not a damn thing. Nothing. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. This is a Texas show. We started out Texas. We're expanding, do a little more. But with the help of people like yourself, we had Mark Lambert on last weekend. So we're expanding out there. But yeah, this is still, a lot of guys from Texas watch this show. And shout out to my Texas people, man. They love doing this thing. And they're learning as we go, about pork, and that pork's a big deal here in Texas. And we'll talk to Darren about that. And you, obviously, you're a world champion.
You give a lot of shout outs to guys, Jersey and the North and all over the place.
Yeah,
so
it's
spreading.
Fun. It is, and it's fun. And I appreciate you doing this, my man. This is not your first time on. You've been on. It's probably your third, maybe your third time.
Third or fourth, maybe.
Third or fourth. Yes, absolutely.
I'm taking credit. I'm taking credit for the KCBS expansion of the Gooder Show.
Yeah, and you're in Missouri, my man, right?
Yeah, I'm just outside of St. Louis.
Just outside of St. Louis. How are them Cardinals doing this year?
They're terrible.
Well, we won't talk any sports right now, but for those that don't know, this man is a Dallas Cowboy fan. And
well, it's hard to see in this camera, but this wall right behind me the paint is actually called Dallas Cowboys blue.
It looks black, and that's
it's hard to tell.
It might have been blue at one time when they were winning, but now that the paint has dulled, just like their 35-year-old last world championship.
The last time they were winning, like I didn't even know what paint was. Like it's been so long.
Man, well, how's your season going so far? I know you're not chasing like you've done in the past. You're not at it as hard. How's life treating you right now, bro?
Good, man. I cooked I guess for the points year, I cooked a couple in November with the KCBS Invitational, and I spent all winter in Texas, as you know, trying to practice for Houston Livestock, which it didn't really help me at all down there. And then I
not at all. How did the half chicken go? I think
I was in the 50s. I was like in the 53 or something like that in half chicken, and I think I was in the 60s in ribs. And I turned in what I thought was maybe one of the most banging briskets I've ever cooked, and got 187th. So
oof, yeah, I'm convinced that is a different animal as far as what to turn in, what to do, but hey, we're going to talk to somebody that's won the damn thing, and he's not from Texas. So it's good barbecue is good barbecue. Right. And we'll talk to Darren about that. What's up, Wes? How are you, bub? Yeah. So yeah, you did do that, Texas. You came down and competed against us, and it
was fun too, man. You and I talked a lot about the difference between KCBS in the Midwest versus these Texas comps, and Texas competitions remind me of what it was when I got started. Like everybody partying all night and having a blast. And, there might, both those comps I cooked had 100 and something teams at it. And like 100 of them was just partying like crazy. It was like me and Purvis over here going, trying to win a comp, everybody else was partying. And man, it was such a great feeling down there cooking in Texas. It was a blast.
I do love that about the Texas scene, and I've gone up to KC and done some KC. It is different, right? Friday's really a social day, and it's like that the same. But on Saturday after the contest here in Texas, we stay, we hang out, we do this, and celebrate the guys that did win, and maybe lull a little bit on our score sheet or whatever from that Saturday. Yep. But at KCBS type contest Saturday, it's a ghost town. It's pretty much gone.
There's a lot of times we don't even stay for awards. We just
that's right.
Haul ass home,
Just get home. Yeah, send me my stuff, man. Send me my stuff.
I had a first last weekend. You'll appreciate this. So, Robert Smith he was trying to get out of this competition, and my trailer was in his way, and so I was going to have to pull up so he could get out. He had a 12-hour drive home. We're in Washington, Missouri. And so we get in the truck, and my dad gets in. He's like, "He's going to pull up and let him out." And I was like, "I'm in the truck. Let's go." So we just left. It was only 40 minutes from my house. So I get home. Nobody's streaming awards at all. I get a text message from a buddy that says, "Congrats, bro." And I said, "On what?" And he's like, "Oh, you reserved this thing." So for the first time ever, I found out I reserved a comp through text message while I was already at my house.
Damn.
It was pretty great.
How did Robert do? Out there?
He, I'm trying to remember if he got. I think he was maybe in like the high teens or so. But man, he had a crazy week. He came up and I think he was going to wrap on his trailer, so he headed to St. Louis and switched out truck and trailer and headed on to Memphis to do like an event for work, and then hauled ass back to Washington, Missouri to cook this comp, and then drove 12 hours back. I mean, I don't know anybody in that situation that could really put on a stellar cook.
Yeah, it's tough to do that with all that travel.
if anybody could, it's Robert.
Yes,
you know,
he's a professional. That guy,
man,
a professional
just
traveler.
Just a ball of energy, ball of fire. I mean, he is always on. I mean, that guy's a riot.
Yeah, he won the contest that I was at this past weekend, guys. He's been doing it for a while and continues to stay, above the comp, ahead of the competition, doing that. Speaking of that, you are the 2022 Jack Daniel's Invitational World Grand Champion. Tell me about that experience. And I don't know if we talked since then on this show.
I don't know. It's crazy because I think a lot of people know I kind of hit this slump last summer. And, I finished in 8th and finished in 9th or 12th. And it's like I wasn't getting murdered, but I couldn't win a comp to save my life. I think from July all the way to the Jack, I had an RGC. It was like my best finish. And it was like I felt like the world was going to end. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I thought I was cooking hot, and it's just like every week I'm like, dude, I don't even know anymore. My buddies would try my food and they're like, dude, you're cooking crazy food. I don't know why it's not scoring. And, we just went in the Jack, man. I took the best meat possible, and we put on just one of the best cooks we'd ever had. And you don't ever expect to win those things, but we go to awards. I think there was 97 teams there, something like that. And we get 10th place chicken. And I was like, man, that's cool. Got a call at the Jack. Last time I was here, I didn't get any calls. And then we get, I think it was third place ribs, I think maybe. And I was like, dang, 2 calls, And Brad texted me and he goes, you nervous? And I was like, no, I'm not nervous. It's a major. Like anything could happen, We didn't get a pork call, which I thought pork was my strongest category of the day. And then we get an 8th place brisket. And as soon as I get that call, I get a text and I look at my phone and Brad says, how about now? And I'm like, yeah, a little nervous. And the crazy thing about having Darren on my way to the stage, he gives me a hug and says, after the brisket call, he gives me a hug and he goes, hey, here's where your butthole puckers, man. and I was like, all right. And get back, they're calling him down. And there's quite a few teams that have 2 really good calls. I'm the only 3-call team. And I start hearing my buddies get calls that like awesome. I'm glad they're going out. I love them to death, but I need them to get called before me, And they called Good Googly Goo for RGC. And man, I just felt really good about it. They called her name, dude, and it was like nothing I've ever experienced, man. Like there's no feeling like winning the Jack. And I think it took like 5 or 6 minutes to get to the stage. And luckily Phil Breeden followed me with a camera the whole way. So the whole thing's on YouTube. But
that's great. That's great.
Yeah, no feeling like it, man. It's pretty cool.
That has got to be the best feeling, man. And amongst those peers, amongst that competition, everybody, a lot of those guys won 7 GCs to be there. And then the others all won GC. Look at Bill. Bill's going. Bill's got 7. He's going.
I'm calling Bill as this year's Jack winner. Even though I'm going, I told Bill I'd be fine all RGC and he could have it. But Bill went and won the exact same competition in Mississippi as I did to get my 7th to get in. And so I'm calling he's winning the Jack this year.
I mean, he's on a roll right now. He's doing amazing. What's up, Aaron? Aaron says, what's up, bitches? Sitting at Twin Peaks drinking some brown water and cold Millers. You were on the intro, Aaron. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I don't know why he's at Twin Peaks looking at us right now. Like
exactly. I will get you a shirt over there, my man, and I'll see you soon. And I'll get your address for sure. Speaking of these guys, I'm seeing a lot of these out on the trail, which is awesome. If you want one, hit me up. Just messenger or a Rob at Bullhorn BBQ. We'll get you taken care of. But anything that we need to touch on before, because we're gonna, it's gonna be you and Darren tonight. We're gonna be touching on questions. I'll be throwing you some more questions for sure. Anything we want to touch on before we get Mr. the Goat on? I told him we'd get him on about 8:20, 8:25. I'm gonna do a quick sponsor roll and then we'll get him on the other side of it. But here we go. Shout out to our great sponsors, RecTag, Cosmos Q Products, Summer Moreno, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, LC Barbecue, Eureka Heights Brew Company, Clark Compression and Components, Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation, Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, Texas Original Charcoal Products, Danny Dietz Memorial Classic, Texas Oil Dove, Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics, We Branded Promotions, and the barbecue store in Hempstead. Thank you for supporting the So Smokin Gooder Show. What's up? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for supporting this show. All right. Let's do this. Let's get him on right now. And I'm talking about Mr. Darren Warth from Iowa's Smokey D's BBQ. Welcome to the show. First timer to the show. I appreciate you doing this. Obviously, you're not doing a whole bunch of these lately. So, Gooder Gang, you're in for a treat. I'm excited to have Mr. Darren. How are you doing, Darren?
I'm great. I would say I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener, but I just don't listen to much barbecue.
And he didn't even know about this show prior to today. So, hey,
you're welcome. You're
yeah,
welcome.
no shit. I am. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Darren, for agreeing to come on the show, man.
Well, Rob texted me and asked my co-host. He said, "Can you get a big name?" And I said, "How about I get the biggest one?"
Not sure where that comes from,
buddy. A lot of people.
Joe Pierce wasn't available, so I text Darren.
Well, no Blaine Hunter.
Yeah,
Blaine's
been on the show before. Has Joe? I think. Yeah, Joe's actually, I think, been on the show. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think Joe's been on, but Blaine for sure. Now we've got the GOAT, man. A lot of people call you the GOAT. How's that make you feel, Darren?
You know, I'm not sure where that started. I'm not sure I'm even deserving of that title.
You're deserving.
You know, sure. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just something that's stuck. I don't use it a lot myself, but a lot of other people do.
Yeah, and I think it's well-deserved. I was looking at Chris has done some awesome research. I used to have a co-host who did little to no research, and Chris is sending me all these stats of yours, and it's amazing. I'm not going to read them all. I will during the course of the show, but I don't know how up-to-date these are, but it says KCBS career, 364 comps, 74 GCs, 50 RGCs. 30% of your comps are either a grand champion or an RGC over 16 years. This is what impresses me the most right here. 290 top 10. So 80% of your competitions are top 10 finishes overseas. That's wow. GOAT worthy, my man. That's pretty awesome, man. And
he forgot to collect the Smokin' Clones days.
Well, the reality is that barbecue data only goes so much. So like when I'm pulling that data, you know I'm missing a lot of Darren's, and Darren's won a lot of competitions that weren't necessarily sanctioned by a body that's going to be on barbecue data. So just those numbers are impressive, but he's got a lot more out there.
Yeah. Absolutely, Darren. And again, these are a lot of Texas cooks that know, and I'm sure a lot of them have heard the name Darren Warth or know you of your accolades already. But for those that don't, please, as your first time on the show, introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Darren Warth with Smokey D's BBQ out of Des Moines, Iowa. Funny, today is the 20th anniversary of my first ever competition barbecue.
That's amazing. Today, May 10th.
Today, May 10th, Sedalia, Missouri.
There he is, Bill Purvis.
Wow, Bill Purvis. So Sedalia, Missouri was like, I was addicted. You know, my wife and I'm kind of an all-in guy. And so in 2002, we went to the American Royal and we just hung out and didn't really know anybody. And we had this team take us in and we just kind of watched it. We said, hey, we're doing this. So off we went home, ordered a gator pit out of Houston.
Out of Houston right here, yeah.
They ordered a gator pit and bought a camper. And about 6 months later, I traveled the country in the logistics business. And I was sitting in Atlanta at the airport and Richie called me and said, hey, my gator pit was done. Called my boss and I said, hey, I can't come to Des Moines. I got to go to Houston. So I flew to Houston, rented a car, had a place, put a hitch on it, on the rental car. So I could, and I drove 24 hours straight home. I slept for like 45 minutes in Kansas. I was so excited to fire that pit. And it was like just all in. And then we go to Sedalia, Missouri, the first contest, and it was the worst. I mean, it rained all night. It hailed. It rained 4 inches. I'm sitting under 2 easy up, brand new easy up tents, tables just soaking wet, 4 inches of mud. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, we had an 85-mile-an-hour downburst come through our site. And I mean, straight line winds totally wrecked everything. It was horrible. And I was like, I'm done. I am just done with this competition barbecue thing. And my wife looked at me and says, you bought all this shit. You're finishing. Needless to say, 2 top 10 calls that day. I got a top 10 call. I turned in a bone-in chicken breast cut in 6 pieces and got like 5th in chicken that day. And then we got a pork call, and we were just addicted. And we went on. I mean, we were the Smokin' Clones back then because we were big Iowa State Cyclone fans. And so we cooked from 2003 to 2007 under the Smokin' Clones. I think we won 27 state championships.
Damn.
We were pretty hot early on and studied the game and loved it. And then it turned into the restaurant business. First it started into a catering business in our driveway, and we just couldn't keep up. I mean, I was a VP of logistics, and I was on the road 50% of the time, and my wife was home doing a lot of work, catering. I was cooking on the weekend, competition barbecue, and it was just nuts. And then we decided to open our first restaurant, and we were going to open a catering company, and then we decided, let's just open a restaurant, a little carryout restaurant, and just went nuts from day one.
What year was that?
That was 2007.
Okay. So,
and then in 2008, we opened a location downtown. And then in 2008, I left my corporate America job. And in 2009, we opened up our second downtown location, 6 blocks away from the first one. And then in 2010, we moved down the street, shut down our original one, and moved into a 400-seat restaurant on I-80, and just was crazy. And then in 2013, I'm competing at the American Royal. At the same time, I'm filming diners, drive-ins, and dives in our restaurant. So I'm back and forth to Kansas City filming this stuff and trying to prep. And so we filmed diners, drive-ins, and dives, and on Sunday we win the American Royal for the first time.
Wow.
And from there, it just skyrockets. And it's the American dream. I feel like I live the American dream every day, even to the point when I was under a piece of refrigeration equipment this morning at 5:30, trying to get the fan to work. That's the American dream.
Still going, man. You still got
still going.
Grant Pinkerton, who's got a couple of restaurants here in Texas, Pinkerton's Barbecue. He says he's been to the one on I-80. Maybe Grant's got a really great restaurant out here. And he was on a guest last week. So prior to barbecue, we all have hobbies, right, that we like to do, or passions. And obviously you're an all-in guy. You said that. What was your all-in before barbecue?
The year before I started barbecuing, I played 85 rounds of golf. Okay. And 85 rounds of golf, they weren't your normal. I was playing corporate golf. So I was Pebble Beach and TPC Sawgrass. And I mean, we were playing every week. That's what we did. We traveled and entertained customers on golf courses. I mean, we'd go on 5-day Vegas trips and play 10 different golf courses in Vegas. And so that was my thing. I mean, I was a big hunter, fisherman. I had the fishing boat, hunting, deer hunting, turkey. I love to turkey hunt. Haven't done it in 20 years. Haven't done any. I've played golf twice, I think, in 20 years, because barbecue is all inclusive. If you're all in barbecue, there's nothing else that you have time for.
Nope. Go ahead, Chris. I know you got something on your mind.
Well, you're winning so fast out the gate, as the Smokin' Clones. What do you think led to that? I know that, kind of back when you started, if you were a little ahead of the game, you were crushing everybody. You kind of seen that with Paul Kirk and, those guys. How did you come out so hot?
I've only ever went to 2 barbecue classes in my life. And in 2003, we went to a Ray Lampe Dr. Barbecue class down in Effingham, Illinois. And I mean, there was a lot of people there, Q-Ow and Candy Sue Weaver. Just Podge and just a ton of people on the barbecue circuit that were there. And he taught us the basics of barbecue and about fixing sauces, just different things. But Rod Gray was there, and Rod says, "Hey, I want to show you something." And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "I'm going to show you how to make a parsley box." And he said, "But there's only 3 people in the country that are doing it: Mike Davis, Johnny Trigg, and himself." And I think truly turning in parsley boxes back then was, most people were just lettuce. You put some lettuce in the corner and the boxes, and you turned in your stuff, and it looked like crap. but the parsley boxes was like a putting green. And Rod kind of got me into that, got Sherry into that, and showed her how to do it. And I truly believe those parsley boxes just enhanced everything. But back then we studied. We didn't have Facebook. There wasn't a lot of barbecue classes. None of that was there, right? It was Google even invented then. I don't know, but we had the barbecue forum. And the barbecue forum, I'm not sure if that stuff's still out there or not, but it was just a community of people that loved to barbecue, some backyard, some professional cooks, or whatever, and anybody would help anybody. But at a contest, Friday was spent learning. We coined shigging, I think, in probably 2006, and we were doing it long before that. And it's just one of those things that's now, Chris, how many classes do you have? How many classes?
I had 3 this winter.
Yeah, you had 3 this winter. Everybody always asks me when I'm going to have my barbecue class, and just ask my wife. I have no class. That's my answer. But they're so easy. I've seen so many teams that they can just go out and they can take a class this weekend and go out and win next weekend. But what really differentiates the men from the boys is when crap goes wrong, right? Yeah. And that's when I love it. That's when I'm in my prime. If the tornado comes through, Bill's switching to parsley. Yeah. Sherry wouldn't do them anymore. But it's that whole being, I kind of lost my train of thought. We're going to have shut off Purvis.
You Bill it, you just watch, you listen.
You were talking about managing chaos, basically.
Managing chaos. So, yeah. You give me 40-mile-an-hour winds and snow, I'm on my game, because I know how to if something's not done, I'm not scared about putting my chicken inside the firebox. I'm not scared about putting ribs up on a 450-degree microwave shelf. I'll do whatever it is to get something done. And a lot of people don't know how to adjust. They read their book and say, oh, here's the timeline. Well, the timeline's not always the timeline, right? Because if it's 20 degrees colder than when you learned your timeline, things are going to cook slower. Or if you're at sea level, or up in the mountains, perfect example, Show Low, Arizona. I was cooking this contest in Show Low, Arizona, and I could not get my pit up to temp. I just couldn't get up to temp. It just would not go above 250 degrees. And so I'm getting ready. I'm like, it's 7:00 in the morning. I got to put this brisket on. And I go to put the brisket on, and it's just a sear. And it was just like putting a steak on a hot griddle. And I'm like, what's going on here? My thermometer was off by 150 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Perfect 180 brisket that day. I seared that brisket. I seared that brisket and then wrapped it, and it was the most beautiful brisket in the world. So most of us Jambo cooks run microwave briskets. Well, I kind of feel like I started that because that was the first time I'm like, wait a second, I wonder if I can replicate it, but I can't. I got to be able to. I can't have my pork that hot because back then, we were cooking all this extra tender stuff. And you couldn't get your pork over 325 degrees. Otherwise the money muscles would go crazy and whatever. So I said, wow, what if I put it on the microwave shelf for a while and spun it around and just used it up there? And so we did that. We started doing that and we're able to replicate that high heat. And I still do that today. It still goes up there for 40 minutes every day, every morning, and just spin it around and, 10 minutes on each side and throw it to the bottom shelf. And, the rest is history.
We talk about that a lot with, I always say there's like technicians and there's pit masters. Like a guy could take a class, follow somebody's timeline and recipes, and if nothing goes wrong, they'll win competitions. But the guys you see go win 40, 50, 60, 100 competitions like Darren, they know how to handle it when shit goes wrong. Like a lot of times you're at a comp and everything's going wrong and the best cooks are like, great. Like, yes, I can handle this. No, like nobody else can, It's
an advantage.
Yeah, it is. It makes you really focus. I think when stuff goes bad, you really, really start to focus on things. And, focus is such an important part of this game that we play, and I'm not near as good as I used to be. I'll be the first to admit it because I don't focus as much. I've won the world. I've won the world 5 times. I mean, we've won everything there is to win. I don't care if I win anymore. Tuffy Stone said to me as he was carrying the last time the third time we'd won the Royal in 2018, he's carrying my trophies. Tuffy has always carried my Royal trophies for me back to my site. Yep. I have pictures of every time. Tuffy always comes, grabs my trophies and helps me carry them. And just a great guy. And he says, you know what, Darren, if you and I never, ever, ever win another contest, we've won our fair share. And that's kind of where we are today. I mean, I like to play around today. I'm screwing around with different things. I'm not real serious about it, but I still love the sport. I still love to do it, but I'm just not near as focused as I am. I mean, I would never agree to do a podcast on a Wednesday night. Are you kidding me? I've got pork and ribs that need trim. Those sauces are made. The rubs are just a trailer back. I mean, there is no way I would agree to this when I was in my prime, 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever, when I was just on fire. There's no way. You couldn't even talk to me during those. Are you kidding me? You want to talk for 5 minutes? No, get off my phone. I got stuff to do. I'm focused.
So I'm looking at what Chris provided. 2013, you mentioned it, your American Royal Open Grand Champion. Was that your first World Championship?
That was my first World Championship.
So and you started in 2003. So the 10 years you were obviously doing well and winning, but hitting that big first World had to be a great moment. But talk about like those 10 years prior to obviously you're winning GCs and RGCs and whatnot and being a force. But was that on the horizon? Were you eyeing these things up? And because a lot of guys, they want success now, and you took you 10 years to get that first World Championship.
Yeah, I thought I had it in 2003, the first year we ever cooked. I went to the American Royal and had a brand new Traeger 070 Little Tex. And Rod Gray, and Rod and I are very good friends and have been since I started cooking barbecue. And he had brought me some premium standard farm ribs, which back then, Smithfield bought them out, bought the plant in Milan, Missouri. But these were like the creme de la creme of ribs, right? It's like, all the big name ribs that are out there today. And so he brings me these ribs. And I fire up the pellet cooker for the first time ever at the American Royal. I'm like, I'm going to cook these ribs. And I turn them in, and we get 5th place with a 180 in ribs. First time ever out. First time I'd ever cooked a premium standard farms rib. First time I ever cooked on that cooker. And so that was pretty addicting. But, back then it was focus. I mean, we won a lot. Like you said, I think before, over our career, we've either grand or reserve won out of every 3 contests.
Yep.
That stat alone just kind of, it's crazy to imagine that. And then when you look at brisket, and brisket's always been my baby. That it's just, I look back at the stats, I'm like, how did we accomplish this? And, a lot of it was, we knew how to cook, but most of it was luck. I mean, you got to be lucky. You got to put yourself in a position to win. You can't turn any food in that's just like over the top, out there weird. You just got to turn in just mediocre barbecue and get lucky. And get really lucky. And we've been super lucky.
What's your most? Go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, the stat that I think is crazy to me is the 80% top 10s. But
yes,
Darren was the guy that told me, he's like, hey man, just always be top 10. You're gonna win a lot of comps. Like if you can find a way to be top 10 almost every weekend, you're gonna luck your way into a lot of wins.
Yeah, I talk a lot of cooks off the cliff when they're like, I'm trying to change stuff. I'm getting 7th. I'm getting 5th. I'm like, do not change a thing. Just keep cooking. Cook your way through it. It's like a slump. You think it's in your, you think you're in a slump, Chris, but it's in your head, right? It's just head games. I mean, and Rod, I mentioned Rod again because he's a great friend, but I'd get in slumps back then, and I'm like, God, I just can't cook ribs. Hey, Rod, you got a new recipe? And he goes, will you shut up? You're one of the best rib cooks in the country. And then I'd go off and I'd win ribs, and I wouldn't do anything different. I just needed the boost of confidence that got us over the top.
It's kind of a weird
get in our own heads for sure. Go ahead.
It's kind of a weird thing in barbecue that like when you're winning a lot, you feel like you're never going to lose again. And when you're in that mindset, you win a ton of competitions. And as soon as you stop winning, you're like, I feel like I'm never going to win again. And then it's like you can't win a comp to save your life. But like Darren said, it's all in your head, either for the good or the bad.
Yeah. And it's a numbers game. You know, I mean, back then, 2013, 14, I mean, we're cooking 40 comps. You know, back in the early days, I was cooking 25 comps, and that was a lot. I mean, we were traveling pretty good, but you cook 40 comps. I don't know how some of these guys do 50 and 60. And I'm like, no, but I felt like the 2009, I was in the race for the team of the year, and I'm not a team of the year guy. I really could care less. I don't care about stats. I really don't. Team of the year means nothing, never has meant nothing. And so it's 2009 story, and I'm sitting at home, and Rod Gray calls me. He goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Man, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna hang out. I'm pretty much done for the year. I think maybe I'll cook the jack. You know, cook the jack. I'll be done." And he's like, "You know, you're in the best position to win team of the year." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, he goes, "Let me send you a spreadsheet." I'm like, "Okay." So he sends me the spreadsheet, and it's between I Smell Smoke out of Massachusetts, and Rod Gray and myself, and we're in this 3-way heater. And then there's only a few contests left. And so there's a contest. This is like on a Monday. There's a contest that weekend in Peoria, Arizona. And he's like, you got to come. And he goes, I'm like, I'm not driving to Peoria, Arizona. So I called a guy out in Arizona. I said, "Hey, Jaybird, you got anything I can cook on?" He goes, "Yeah, I got a couple WSMs." I'm like, "Fine." I said, "I'm going to fly in, get me an easy up tent and a cot and whatever." So I flew in there, and I win the contest. And Rod and Steve Farron, they're driving across the country. Steve Farron's drove from Boston to Arizona, and they're like, and so I win the contest. Now I'm in the head. Now I'm ahead of team. You're with 2 contests left to go. I'm like, wow, what are we going to do here? The next contest is in Florida.
Oh, God.
Steve Farron drives from Arizona to Florida. Rod drives from Arizona to Kansas City, picks up more meat, and drives to Florida. And I call another buddy in Florida and say, "Hey, Ray Lampy, what do you got down here?" He goes, "Well, I got an FE down here." And Craig from Firehouse says, "Well, I got this charcoal grill from Menards. I'll give you." I said, "Okay, fine." So we go down, and Rod wins, and I get second. And then we come down to Tempe, Arizona. So now we're going to go clear back across
to Arizona,
country, right?
Gosh.
Luckily, I got my old trusty WSMs back there. And so I fly back out there, and I'm doing this. Sherry's not even here. I'm flying back and forth without her. She's like, "I'm tired. You've already cooked 24 contests. I'm out of here." And so I fly back to Tempe, Arizona, and this contest only calls the top 5. And whoever could win this contest would win Team of the Year in 2009.
Okay. Came down to this one.
It came down to the final thing. But when we go to announce, they only announce the top 5 in each category. So I got a top 5 call in chicken. Rod gets a top call 5 in ribs. Steve gets a top 5 call in pork. And it comes down to brisket. Well, Rod ends up winning Team of the Year. I get second, whatever. But it was just crazy. But I think of those memories of barbecue as like, wow, I'd love to relive those again. I mean, I love the flying in thing.
Yeah.
I love putting my meat in a suitcase and off I go. And, you know, I've got this idea for this reality TV show that I'd like to show up in an airport. So let's say the 3 of us show up in an airport. You show up at your airport, Chris, you're out of St. Louis, I'm out of Des Moines, and they hand us tickets and $1,000 and say, "You're going to Columbus, Ohio, and turn-ins are tomorrow at noon." And you have to buy a smoker. You have to buy your meat. You have to buy everything. And then you go cook a contest. And to me, that would be the ultimate. It's like the Amazing Race for barbecue.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the kind of stuff I like. I mean, now it's all about the challenge. You cut off my left arm, I'm going to try and figure out how to cook a brisket with my right, you know, and I love that type of challenge now because, you know, like I said, we've won all we need to win. Now it's just a matter of keeping it interesting.
I want to see that show. Let's do it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen,
Yeah.
Darren.
I think you need to pitch that to the barbecue league.
Yeah. Because Brad does that. I see him all the time showing up in contests in a rented
He
car.
does.
And,
He's really good at it. He's really good at it. And Tim was always great at that. And, but they've got cans. They're cooking on the same stuff. I'm like, come on, guys, let's cook on something different. Matter of fact, I tell you what, let's go to a contest. Let's just switch. Let's just draw for cookers at the contest. I'll bring my Jambo. You bring your cans. Somebody else brings their stumps or whatever. And let's just draw and see at the contest who gets to cook. Or better yet, let's draw for turn-in orders. Right. Yeah. So everybody has this they got these timelines. I don't have a timeline. I've never had a timeline. I only make a timeline once a year, Murfreesboro, Illinois. I don't even have to make it anymore, but it used to be, we turn in pork at like 10 in the morning and chicken at 11:15. And so I had to have some sort of timeline, but I'm not a timeline guy. And I love the adversity and see how we did that down in Sonny's once. I cooked the Sonny's contest and won Sonny's one year, and I pitched it to them. I said, why don't we draw at the cooks meeting for turn-in? And they said, hey, that's a great idea. So they announced it to everybody at the cooks meeting, and everybody's like, are you shitting me? And then they're like, and guess what, Darren, since you won, why don't you come draw the order? Of course, you know who pulls out brisket first as the first turn-in. Everybody was just pissed. We had to start we had to get up at 3:00 in the morning to start the damn brisket, and it was FBA and whatever. And luckily, I ended up winning the contest too. So,
speaking of winning, you are a world champion in 2013 American Royal. We mentioned 2013 Kingsford Invitational Grand Champion. 14 King of the Smoker. That was fun to watch those back then. Yeah. 14 you were a Jack Daniels Invitational Grand Champion. 16 back American Royal Open Grand Champion. 16 the Sam's Club Grand Champion. 17 Texas Cooks. You're hearing all this other stuff, but Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Grand Champion. And then a third time the American Royal Open Grand Champion. Talk about your experience at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. That's got a lot of attention here with our guys, our viewers.
Yeah, Houston. I mean, you talk about a contest. Well, you talk about a party. Just crazy. I mean, the first time we went there, I don't know what year it was. The year before we won, I think, and I didn't know crap about Texas barbecue, but I'll give it a whirl. I mean, I pretty much cooked KCBS. I just took my same recipes and just cooked it. Had a little bit of help, how to cut a half chicken or whatever and things. And that's back when they did that's back when you did 2 turn-ins. So you had, you turned in one set, and then if you made finals, you had to do another set. And so I had some good advice from the guys at Motley Q, Guy Fieri's barbecue team, and they said, hey, they're going to come back and say finals are at 3:00. They're not going to be at 3:00. It's going to be more like 4:30 or 5. So don't get your stuff done too early. And you could only cook 2 pieces of meat, right? You cook 2 chicken halves, 2 chickens, 2 ribs, and 2 briskets. So I staggered everything. And so I was cooking my chicken, and, it just turned in an amazing chicken, and we make finals in chicken. And they come back, and I mean, my chicken was done an hour early. And so I've got it. I'm actually finishing it on the can. And so I've got this chicken on the can, and then I'm moving inside and letting it sit. So every 10 minutes, I put it back on the can. I bring it up to temp. I put it back inside on the thing, and I go back and forth. I wasn't going to the Cambro and screwing up the skin. And it was like the best chicken ever. I mean, it was just amazing. And then we went to the stage and ended up getting second in chicken and second overall.
Nice.
That year. I mean, it was crazy, but standing on that stage, I mean, they're all special. Houston is super special. And, we got so many memories. They only let one person go on stage, and here's Sherry, cause it's just her and I cooking. And now it's pretty much Darren cooking. Sherry's become, my lovely bride's become a fair weather barbecuer. So like this weekend, I'm going to Minnesota in May, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm going. What's the weather like? And I said, it's supposed to rain like hell and be windy on Friday or Saturday. Boy, I got some stuff I got to get done in the office. Don't worry, honey. I can do it all by myself.
I'm out.
But she's standing in Houston in the crowd, And this woman that all of a sudden they announce this, and she's like, Iowa? Some girl next to us is like, Iowa? Why would they even let anybody in? And then we win it. And my wife's like, yeah, that's my husband. That's why they let us in.
Nice. That is a special stage. All those people out there. It's a sea of people. You got the what am I trying to say? The Ferris wheel in the back. You got the Astrodome, and it's really special. It's really neat.
If I could go back to one stage, that'd be the one I want to be.
That was one of the questions. What's your most memorable of all the things you've done? Is there one that sticks out more than the others?
I'm not sure that one sticks out. They all have their special place, so the American Royal was the first, and, winning that 3 times is just, crazy. The Jack, when you got the Jack, and Chris, you just experienced the Jack. It's just all this playing, we are the champions. And then you got all the international press, and everybody seems genuinely, excited that you won. At the American Royal, it's like after you win, you turn around, hey, where'd everybody go? And then Houston's just a big party. And then Houston, I swear I have pictures. Every woman in Houston wanted their picture taken with me and my trophy. You talk about walking around with my grandson as a chick magnet. Oh no, just walk around with a Houston rib trophy and an overall trophy. Man, they're all over it.
Nice.
You mentioned your grandson. I feel like Sherry became a fair-weathered competition cook about the time that you guys had Griffin.
Yeah, I think Griffin, who's 3 now, I think Griffin will probably, in the rest of our career, however long that will be, I think Griffin will probably make more contests than Sherry will.
Yeah, for sure. That's about the time she stepped away, was when he was born, I think.
Yeah. And which rightfully so. I'm so, it's getting to the point that I pretty much do everything anyway. I do all the prep, and Sherry will make the boxes, but it was like a year ago, she goes, I hate doing dishes. I'm like, no big deal. I can knock out the dishes. So now I do the dishes and whatever. So when turn-ins are over, it's like, hey, where'd she go?
Yeah.
And she's our social chair, and she's out talking with people. Okay, I'll knock it out. So I'm just so used to cooking by myself that it's just second nature to me.
And Rob, just so you know, his grandson is the only 3-year-old that owns his own Jambo. Just so you know.
You got a 3-year-old owning a Jambo. Nice.
He does. Yeah. We got it for him when he was like 6 months old. It's still sitting in the garage. I really should sell it. I need to really divest in some Jambos because I'm tripping over them every day. I need to. There might be a fire sale coming up pretty quick, but of Jambos, and it's hard to part with them. But man, it's just there. But yeah, Griffin's become quite the cook. He loves to cook. And when he shows up at my house, it's like, Papa, what are we cooking? What are we cooking? What are we cooking? And he's at that stage that he asks 500 million questions. And so we were in Florida for a week here about a month ago. And I said, hey, Griffin, you ever cracked an egg? No, Papa, how you crack an egg? And I said, well, here's how you crack an egg. And he starts cracking eggs. And every day we crack a dozen eggs. And so he can crack a dozen eggs by himself. But what's even more impressive, because everybody has the smartest grandkid, right? We're sitting in the grocery store, Sherry and Griffin and I, and we're pulling up the aisle, and Sherry starts counting how many items, because we're trying to figure out if we can go to the express lane with 10 items or less, right? So she's going 1, 2, 3, just under her breath. And Griffin turns around in the shopping cart and goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he starts doing it in Spanish. So now I'm like, hey, Griffin, count to 10. He just counts to 10 in Spanish now.
Nice.
And I'm like, he's 3.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, man, he's going to make a hell of a kitchen manager someday.
Yes, he is. You already got him hired.
I wasn't going to make the joke, Darren, but I'm glad you did.
Since I did.
So Darren, 03 American Royal, what did it look like back then compared to what it is right now?
Pretty much the same, a lot smaller rigs. I remember like Donnie Teal. Donnie Teal wasn't cooking. I mean, he used to season his meat inside the Jambo. Okay. He didn't have a table. He had a pickup truck and a Jambo. He didn't even have a tent. And so every time him and Bart Clark and all them, they'd season their meat. They didn't want anybody to see what they were doing. They were putting Head Country marinade on their brisket. I saw it, but they were rubbing it in pans and whatever with Head Country marinade. That was what you did back then. still got a bottle back here in the back. Actually, I might roll it out this weekend, but
There you go.
they would rub all the but it was much smaller. The footprint wasn't much smaller. I mean, us having a trailer in back then was, I mean, we were one of few, and now it's like, wow, now my 40-foot trailer is the small thing. I mean, these guys,
Right.
I don't know how, I'm not sure how they're doing it. I'm not, either their kids aren't going to college, they're independently wealthy or whatever, or they're borrowing money that they shouldn't be borrowing, because I mean, the size of these rigs is just crazy. And it was more smaller and quaint back then.
Yeah, the rigs are taking over, and they're all hauling cans in these big old rigs with the cans in them too. It's like,
yeah.
it's great.
Are you talking trash on me?
I'm not. I have cans, but I don't have a big rig.
I've got a modestly sized trailer though, compared to a lot of these guys.
I got 7 cans in the garage. Doesn't mean I cook on them.
Yeah, cans are taking over, man. They
Snake River trophies, Big Papa Smoker trophies, that type of stuff.
Hey, this is so obscure to all the Texas listeners, but like you'd mentioned the Royal. I want to know, like, how did the tenderloin party start? And like, can you explain how it's grown? Because it is a monster now.
It's a monster. So it started with, we just a couple of people say, hey, we hear you cook this breaded pork tenderloin at the restaurant, and we serve now 400 of these things a week, and we hand bread them every day to order, and they're just monster hubcap breaded pork tenderloin. It's an Iowa thing. It's an Iowa, Illinois, Indiana thing. And so they went to the Royal and they're like, hey, will you make us some tenderloins? I'm like, well, find me a fryer. I'll make you some tenderloins. So I went to the store and got a pork loin and got some breading, and I just made up the breading and I breaded them, and everybody's like, man, these are good. And then it caught on, like, hey, can we do that again next year? So it grew from like making 20 tenderloins to now I make 400 tenderloins. And so I bring in, and it's craziest thing, I announced it on Facebook that we're having this free tenderloin feed, right? And I have one of my staff drive down and bring me fryers and all the tenderloins, and we bring our mac and cheese, which we're known for, and buns. And then other people started doing different things. They brought onion rings, and T-Mac brought cheese curds, and it became this big meal. And it was just it's a free thing. I mean, I pay for it all, but it's just my way of giving back. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's still bigger. And so like Thursday at noon, I'm sure this year we'll cook 450 tenderloins, but I never ask for any help, right? I never plan in advance. I'm like, oh, we'll just cook some tenderloins, well, whatever. But instantly 15 people will show up. I mean, first Donnie Teal and Rod Gray, they're like, we're frying. Nobody else is frying. We're frying. Right. And then we got T-Bone out of Oklahoma. He's always the breader. He's the master breader. And so we bread everything to order there, and we just fry it, and everybody sets up this line. People are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. Evidently it's fun, and people like tenderloins. It's just our way of giving back. So
have you been over there for it, Rob?
No, I'm not. No, I've been missing out, but I will be there this year for sure. That's
the line gets about a half mile long.
I walked over last year, and the line was so long. I was like, I've had the tenderloin. I remember like walking up past the line, saying hi to Darren, and being like, yeah, I'll see you later. Like, I was like, I have not waited. I mean, I'm talking probably 200 people in the line when I got there. It was insane.
Yeah.
Is this a Thursday night thing?
No, it's a Thursday at noon.
Thursday at noon. Okay, even better.
Yeah, so we say we're going to start at 11. We really start about 10:30, 10:45. So if you want to get there way early, or walk in the back and say, hey, any chance I can slide one out the back door? Because, I mean, we feed all the American Royal staff too, or that comes around. They come around and we're like, hey, you're not waiting. Or all the firefighters or policemen, whatever, they all, we're like, hey, come around back.
Bill says he's had it last year. It's delicious. Get there early. Bill Hine, arguably one of the best parts of the Royal. It's massive.
It's not massive. It's a third of the size. It's a third of the size of the one we serve in the restaurant.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I want you guys to think about something we do on the show. We ask guys, who are on their Mount Rushmore. There are 4 people that have mostly influenced them, or people they look up to, or somebody that's been a big part of your barbecue journey. You don't have to answer it right away because we'll come back to you guys, but I do want to put that on the back burner for you guys to think about it, and we'll come back to you on that one. But you also mentioned about classes. You don't do a class, right? You don't hold classes. Okay.
Never had a class.
Well, Chris does. Chris has a few classes up here. And
I got a funny story about that. Before I took any classes, I messaged Darren on Facebook. I had no idea. We'd never met. I just knew he was the GOAT. And I just messaged him. I was like, hey, man, I want to take a class. When are you having a class? And he replied, I'm not. And I was like, dang. And I remember, I think I called Rod Gray after that and, talked to him about his class there. But Darren's just flat out. I mean, this was 8 years ago or so. He was just like, hey, man, like, I'm just not. I'm never going to. And I thought that was so cool for him to be like, I'm not giving my stuff away. I'm just not,
Well, it's not, it's not my stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true,
I mean, is your class all your stuff? No, it's
not
something you
even
learn.
close.
Right. It's something you learn from another class. So why should I give somebody else's secret away? So, it's just one of those things that we're in a position, you don't need the money. I don't need the stress of a class, even though not much stresses me out. But it's just one of those things that, I think it's kind of, we talked about, if we ever retire, which I don't know, I'm not sure if we'll ever retire, then I'd have to work in the restaurant 7 days a week. And that's BS. But we talked about, having a one-time class. Hey, 25 spots, 10,000 each, and I'll sign something that will never, ever teach anything again. The problem is I don't know what I'd teach because now, I mean, I never write anything down. Okay. I don't have notes. Somebody said, what'd you cook for ribs in 2000? I don't know. I just cooked barbecue, and so now I'm kind of on this kick and, it's fun. So now I'm trying to figure out the least amount of sauces and rubs I can use in a contest. So like I went to Osage City, and the holy grail of barbecue rubs to me is Head Country, Smokin' Guns Hot, and Cimarron Doc's Rib Rub. Okay. Because those are those are really the only 3 rubs that were around in 2003. Yeah, I mean, there was some cherry rubs and whatever, but those were the thing. And I look at most when people like, I'll taste a rub. Oh, it tastes like Smokin' Guns Hot and Cimarron Doc's, right? So when on the way to Osage City, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put that on all 4 categories. So I put Smokin' Guns Hot and Cimarron Doc's, all 4 categories across the board. And I get 4th overall. I get 2 calls. I'm like, it all tastes the same. So now, I mean, sorry, Chris, you're trying to sell rub, but Chris's is different. He's actually, his rub, I actually tasted it for the first time, I think, when we were down in Tennessee. I think I put it on something, but yeah, that was Tennessee, and Tennessee hates me. But anyway.
He texted me and said, what should I put white label on? I said, it's good on everything. He goes, I'm going to put it on chicken.
but so now I'm trying. Now I was just talking with Blaine tonight. We were talking restaurant business, and I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to get down to 2 sauce. I want 1 sauce on all 4 categories. What do you think that is? If I can put 2 sauces and mix them together on all 4 categories, what is it? Maybe we ought to do hey, Purvis, this is where you really need to shout up.
Yeah,
it's an obvious answer.
I need to make it. Is it?
Yeah, Blues Hog and Head Country or Blues Hog and Craig's?
I was going to say Blues Hog for sure, because it just seems like it carries all over the country.
Yeah, so Craig's is my favorite. If you go into my refrigerator right now, Craig's is the only sauce in the refrigerator. Sherry and I just love it. Sherry puts Craig's on everything, right? She just loves it. And I love Craig's too, but I've never mixed it with Blues Hog.
Right.
And so I was telling that to Blaine.
Right.
I'm like, hey, I told him, I said, maybe I'm going to go all 4 categories with Blues Hog and rib grind on everything.
Rib grind.
Do you want me to ratch out, Purvis? Remember what you told me about rib grinds?
Okay. Oh.
But so now I'm trying to figure out, how do I get to 2 rubs and 2 sauces, all 4 categories? That's my new challenge. So this weekend, I don't know. It might. I'm leaning towards Blues Hog and Craig's. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
if you do like 2 parts Blues Hog original and 1 part Craig's, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Wait.
It's,
gotta write this down.
Good combo.
You gotta write this down. 2 to 1. Yeah. So funny story.
He's gonna get 40th. He's gonna get 40th this weekend and text me like, you son of a bitch.
What's up, Corey?
No, I'm not. Because you know what? I don't care if I get 40th. I'm the point that I am just as happy if I win as if I get 40th. I don't care. I mean, I really don't care. As long as one of my friends wins, I'm happy. You know, that's just kind of the way we are. But yeah, so my first 27 grand championships as a Smokin' Clones, 27 championships, Smoke Guns Hot, Blues Hog Original, right out of the bottle, both of them. Nothing, all 4 categories.
Yep.
That's what you ran. That was the holy grail.
27 championships. Great.
I mean, of course, that was 2003. But that's why I kind of have this urge to go back to, and I'm sponsored by Big Papa, and I love his rubs, but it's like, I look at people that, you know, today's game is, I'm going to take Chris's white label, which tastes like Smoke Guns Hot, and then I'm going to put it on top of Sweet Money, and then I'm going to take some Timuron Docks, and then and I'm going to put I'm like, you know what you just did? You just took the basic rubs and multiplied it times 5, and guess what? You might as well just use Smoke Guns Hot and Cimarron Docks.
Somebody's like, damn, the money I could save. Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
you tell me.
Robert Smith, Black Label, Heavy Smoke in his Perfect Storm.
First class Perfect Storm. Never even heard of that, Robert.
No, it needs to make its way up.
I need to come down to Texas and play, I can tell.
Now I've heard this story about, and multiple people have said it to me about Darren Warth. He says he can put ketchup on anything and win a contest. Is this a true story? What happened here?
So I have a lot of talks with cooks, you know, and trying to just keep it simplistic because it's a tenderness game. And so my saying is, give me salt, pepper, and ketchup, and I'll beat you in tenderness every time.
It's probably true. Tenderness right there.
Now it's probably not ketchup. It's probably salt, pepper, and Blues Hog or something. But it's a tenderness game, and people, you know, I go on the Facebook and people look at, oh my God, you see them boxes? The boxes look horrible. I don't give a shit what boxes look like. It's a 0.5 point in KCBS. It means nothing. And taste is 2.5, and you're focused on appearance. I don't care what it looks like. Matter of fact, Tuffy said he always joked with me at the Jack after he won the Jack 3rd time. He goes, yeah, I usually give my box a little shake when I show up at the, you know, because you don't want it to look pristine. If it looks pristine, I just feel like judges are going, oh, that's one of them professional guys. He's won too many. But if I can make it look like a backyarder and taste like a pro, to me, that's the ultimate competition. Because you see so many of these teams that the boxes look horrible that are scoring, but I'm assuming they taste really good.
Yeah.
You know, so people get so tied up because I think tenderness leads to taste. It's definitely, to me, it's a 100% tenderness game.
I agree with that. That's makes or break you right there. You know, the taste is weighted higher down in CBA. I'm sure it's the same in KCBS, but
I think those two scores track a lot of the times. If
they
you
do.
miss,
they
if
do.
you miss
899, 799, 788.
If you miss tenderness, they're probably going to ding you in taste too, and it's unfortunate, but it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
Wes Garrett, politically incorrect. I'm messing with Ty here. He's probably blowing my mind. Box shake.
Yeah, Wes. When's the last time you ever walked to turn-ins?
Calling them out. Reedy Gonzalez hitting us with a hashtag blowing smoke AP rub. This doesn't exist, but he always likes to point it out, and that's what we need right there. We need some blowing smoke AP rub to be your only rub there.
Darren was talking about how he's playing around now. He's just trying to have fun with it. I think you should talk about your little run with pork steaks.
Oh, you ever hear the pork steak story?
No, let's hear it.
And so I love pork steaks are a St. Louis thing. I'm not sure if you've ever had a pork steak.
I've seen some people turning them in down here now.
Okay, so pork steaks is kind of the holy grail. So we're at the World Food Championship. Don't ask me why, but we're at the World Food Championship, right? And we're cooking where they did a KCBS one day and an IBCA one day. And so I went and I had my mind. I'm like, what do I got to lose? I'm going to turn in pork steaks. So I turned in I was going to turn in a boneless pork steak, and I'm trying to think of who the head judges were. Really well known. Can't remember their name. Anyway, I went up to them after the cook's meeting and said, hey, I'm going to try something here. And they're going, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to turn in whole pieces of pork steak. And they're like, is it going to be like pieces? So, yeah, they're all going to look alike, but I'm just going to turn in full pork steaks. And so I've got Roddy Trevino and Ernest Cervantes and Carlos and all these guys are going, you're not doing this. And I said, oh, watch this, And so I turn them in and get 5th place. And it actually put me into the finals of the World Food Championship. And so I'm like, wow, that was just crazy. So then last year, was that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm cooking down in Florida with Luke Darnell under Teddy Camp Barbecue, because that's kind of our thing now. We all, Luke and Jeff from Shigan and Lucky's Q and all that, we all go to Jeff and Ted's cabins over the 4th of July, and it's called Teddy Camp. So that the kids go and, they learn life skills, how to drink bourbon and how to tie a boat knot and how to Teddy's the teacher of Lucky's kids. So it's Teddy Camp. So Teddy Camp's the thing, and we compete under Teddy Camp. And I said, hey, Luke, let's turn in pork steaks. He's like, yeah, I'm in. So we turned in pork steaks, and, we're like, we're going to get killed, but okay, it's Florida. And so we're sitting over at Tim Malloy's trailer after turn-ins, and some judge comes over and says, you would not believe what we just had. And I'm like, what? And he goes, some fucker turned in pork steaks. I'm like, really? And they're going, it was amazing. I don't know why more cooks don't do this. And I'm like, because to me, the key to a pork steak is you got to make it super tender, but then you got to get that char sauce on the outside, right? And it's just Randy Twyford from Twyford Barbecue. He's been cooking me pork steaks for years. And it's Sherry and I, we just love pork steak. Matter of fact, I'm going to put one on the menu for this weekend. But we cook pork steaks and we turned it in and we got a 180 in pork. Damn. First place. So we've only cooked them twice, and then I started cooking them and just got murdered every single time. I cooked them like 5 more times and just got murdered, and I aborted the mission going, but they're still good. I probably maybe I'll run them again this weekend, see if they like them in Minnesota.
Do it. Buzz Barbecue, did you sear the pork steaks?
Yeah, so what I did was, and I cooked the pork steak, I smoked the pork steak. Actually, what I did was I actually cooked the capa, the money muscle, and that end of the butt. I cooked it on Friday, threw it in the cooler, sliced it up when it was cold, and then I put it in some au jus in a wrap with some little apple juice, and I put it on like 45 minutes before pork turn in, and I just threw it in the Jambo until it got heated up, and then I had the can just searing hot. I just put it on, let it sear for a minute, and then I flipped it over, sauced it, whatever. I mean, just truly amazing. I mean, it's just, the problem is if you were just doing the money muscle, I think it would probably be better, but it would shrink so much that, and so I was trying to do it, what I call the ghillie muscle. That's a St. Louis thing, but was doing the ghillie muscle, and it tends to dry out a little bit if you don't get it perfect. But if you get that one bite on the money muscle end, there's just nothing better. Burnt fat, and it's just amazing.
Man, this has been great. This is awesome. Chris, do you have we can keep going because I do want to hear about your Mount Rushmores for sure.
Yeah, one's a tough one. I've had that in the back of my mind trying to figure out influential and Mount Rushmore. That's crazy.
Well, I tell you what.
Can I tell you who wouldn't be on there?
You could do all of it.
Yeah, me and Rob.
I like what Wes said earlier. Where was it, Wes?
I was thinking more of a bigger celebrity, but that's fine.
Wes said 2 outstanding pit masters over there, and then he added, and Chris. You, Wes, you made my day. I read that. I was like, man, what a dick move right there. then he said, and Chris.
Wes and I have this thing where we just no 2 people love to bust each other's balls more than me and Wes, man. Like, we're great friends, but it's like we are going for the throat at all times.
Right. He's awesome. Right. He is awesome. Well, I think about it because I'm going to do a little wrap-up recap and then upcoming event segment, and then I'll come right back to both of y'all. So y'all can take a pee. Y'all can do whatever you want. You got about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll come back, and then we'll hear those. So you can really think about it and even tell us who ain't on it if you want.
I'm not telling you.
All right, Darren, thank you. Chris, go take a break real quick, and we'll come right back, man. I appreciate you guys. All right, we're going to drop them down here. And then we are going to go and do our wrap-up recap. and then we will do our upcoming events. And if anybody wants to send a box, I saw Ty put that down in the comments. Send it to me. You can either email it, preferably if you're Facebook friends with me, send it on Messenger, and I will put up on the hashtag rate my box. So simply for appearance, we'll do that here shortly. All right, let's do it. Let's get to this real quick. Let's go with the present here and the slides here. We're going to do the bull printing wraps and graphics, sponsored by Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics over in the Champions BBQ Alliance. I talked about this one earlier. The Grimes County True Blue Foundation, grand champion, Robert Smith, first class barbecue comment, the RGC, Steve Pfeiffer, LF. Over in San Antonio, the Lot Stocks and Barrows, grand champion, Mr. Phil Breeden from LC Barbecue. The RGC was Eddie Madrano from Texas Barbecue Depot. And we had the Hookers annual barbecue cook-off. I don't know what the Hookers part of that, but that's interesting. Grand champion was Tommy Hernandez from Black Fork Barbecue. The RGC was Cody Mendoza from Fire and Ice. And in Bishop, Roddy Trevino was promoting this one. He was the promoter for this one. The Bishop Wild Horse Desert Roundup. Grand champion was Andy Reyes from Fat Cat Barbecue. And the RGC was Mr. Fred Robles from Rio Valley Meats. Over in the IBCA Chigger Hill Cook-Off, grand champion Mike Tristan from HTX Barbecue. The RGC was Mr. Jason Sagmiller from Race Crew Drum Smokers. And at the Cinco de Mayo Cook-Off, grand champion Dwayne Garber, Mid-Coast Cookers. The RGC was Blake Schendel from J-Bar J Texas Pit Barbecue. And the Crosby County Farm Bureau Scholarship Cook-Off, grand champion Lupe Garcia from Popo's Barbecue. The RGC Donnie Hill, The Right Stuff Barbecue. Down in League City, down in my neck of the woods, League City Music Fest, grand champion was Alan Prothrow, Ice Cold Cookers. In the RGC, all right, good friend Ted Skinner from Mad Scientist Social Club. Congratulations. Hey, man. All right, over in Lone Star, Rogers, Texas, grand champion James Dodson from Limp Brisket. RGC was James Anderson. The Howdy Roo Barbecue Cook-Off, grand champion Clint Collier. RGC was Randall Johnson from Ocala Q. Brushy Creek Mud Cook-Off, grand champion Marco Thomas. RGC was Lyode Blaine. And Midland Bush Tennis Center Cook-Off, grand champion Anthony Montez. RGC was Alan Smithhart. And over in the Outlaw Barbecue Association, Smokin Guns Cook-Off, grand champion was David Hargrave from Bubba Blue Plate. RGC was Vinny McNamara from Steel Smoke. All right, man, a lot of cook-offs down here this past weekend. The next slide we're going to do is the upcoming events segment, sponsored by the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, December 8th and 9th, 2023, down in Uvalde, over in Uvalde, Texas. You guys can hear my voice. Please make plans to attend that one. That was always a great job over there, done by Wade Carpenter and his crew over there. Concrete all over, a great Friday night dinner, great awards on Saturday, and great accommodations. So make sure you try to attend the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads over in Uvalde, December 8th and 9th. Okay, this weekend in the Champions Barbecue Alliance, we got the City of Alamo Watermelon Fest, Alamo, Texas. We got the Texas Barbecue Throwdown. This is the third leg of the Texas six-pack, sponsored by the Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. That's going to be in Hempstead, Texas. And then we have the Mark Marley Go Big or Go Home Bash in Plainview. Again, you see these Texas icons, that indicates that these are state championships. So all three this weekend in the CBA are state championships. Over in the IBCA, we got the Texas Barbecue Throwdown at the Tree Farm, College Station, Texas. The Battle on the Bay in Rockport. Buck's Backyard, 7th Annual Cook-Off in Buda. And we got Yaga's Wild Game Cook-Off in Galveston. That's over here. That one seems to be a fun one. Nothing going on in Lone Star. And over in the Outlaw Barbecue Association, we got the Butterfield Stage Days in Bridgeport, Texas. That is a state championship. And Sabine County Go Texans Spring Fest in Hemp Hill, Texas. All right, that's sponsored by the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads. Thank you, guys. All right, let's bring them back. Let's bring them back. Here we go. We got Mr. Darren Warth from Iowa's Smokey D's, and then we got Mr. Chris Schafer from Heavy Smoke. All right. Did y'all have plenty of time to take care of business?
I was just sitting right here.
Oh, you were just sitting right there. All right, good. He's good. Darren, do you drink at contests?
You know, yes and no. Not so. I've always had a rule that on Friday nights, two drinks, two drinks in bed by 9. Okay, that's my rule. I don't care if we're having the best party in the world. 2 drinks in bed by 9. I drink less and less. I like to drink better quality if I'm going to drink, but you know, I see so many people just get plastered, and I'm like, how do you focus on Saturday if you're hungover? You know, and it's just more the serious enough. So, you know, I do a little bit. I'm not sure that I'm going to get to Minnesota tomorrow night. Jeff's wanting me to come up and drink bourbon. So if I'm going to do that, I'll probably do it on a Thursday night. Friday night, I'm try to be pretty regimented. If I'm by myself and I get past the 2 drinks on Friday night, usually Saturday's not going to be good. So
yeah, so that's good. That's a good rule. 2 drink minimum. So
2 drinks in bed by 9. In bed by 9.
Well, KCBS is a little different. We have later turn-ins over down here. So.
Yeah, I still be in bed by 9.
All right, good. All right,
yeah.
I do see a lot of guys doing that out there. And so if you do want to tie one on, you go up a day early on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll try and go a day early because I'm like Chris. I can't remember the last time I stayed for awards. I mean, I am truly the taillight barbecue. I mean, it has been.
Damn it, I did it again
lately. I mean, it's just like I'm out of here.
Louis Gonzalez, Robert Smith, and Brian King told me I have to get drunk Friday to win on Saturday. I don't think they were giving you good advice, but Robert says drink them all. Robert Smith from First Class. Why isn't that posted? All right, let me hide this. All right, there you go. Ty, take care of that one. Get that one off the screen. There we go. All right. Who wants to go first with their Mount Rushmore of barbecue?
I got mine. I'm also very interested to hear Darren's. So however you want to do it.
Go ahead, Chris. We'll wrap it with Darren.
My number 1 is always Tuffy Stone. I remember, just watching Pitmasters before I did anything, and like the way he did things, and being like kind of the scientist and having spreadsheets and just really being like so regimented. I mean, that's what got me into it. And he's just such a cool dude and a good guy. And once I've got to meet him and become friends with him, Tuffy's just, I don't know, he's just lights out, right? My next would be Darren, actually. Sorry, Darren, that you're listening to it, but Darren's just,
hello.
Ever since I started, man, like the guy's won everything. I started basically in 2012, and that's about the time that he went ham. I mean, he won everything that could be won. You know what I mean? And to sit back and watch that in my early days was so impressive. And now that I'm going to use this term loosely, but now that we're friends and you get to see what a good dude Darren is, it helps with that. And then my last 2 were kind of a tandem, and that's Brad and Tim. Brad and Tim, they've done so much for drum cooking and competition cooking, and Tim with Gateway and Blues Hog now, and then Brad's just, I mean, he's just been crushing it for so long, and I owe a ton of my success to both of those guys over the years. So that would be my 4.
That's a solid list, man. Solid list. You have Tuffy, Darren, Brad, and Tim. That's pretty solid. That's tough. That's tough to top. Darren, I am curious with yours because you've been doing it a lot longer than Chris and I have.
Yeah. Mine's kind of an oldies list.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of
which is what I expected. That's why I was so.
Yeah, I think it should be that way. Yeah. These are people.
I mean, I think the number one person I put up there is Phil Hopkins from Smokin Guns Barbecue in Kansas City. Phil taught me a lot about competition barbecue. His rub is renowned. In my restaurant, I still buy his rub 6,000 pounds at a time. And so, but he taught me a lot about the restaurant business too. He's the one that really got me on the right foot into the restaurant business. I'm forever grateful to Phil Hopkins for doing that. Number 2, Rod Gray. I know I've talked with Rod about Rod a lot. Him and I just best friends and just cooked forever. And he was always such a very anal, meticulous cook, just very, very good thing. Number 3, I think I'd put Sterling Ball up there. And Sterling, I know Sterling sometimes can be a little overbearing to some people, but back when things were, prior to 2013, maybe 2012, 2013, I'd maybe lost a little interest in barbecue. And Sterling kind of brought that back for me and said, "What are you doing here?" And just he kind of was my coach back then and kind of brought me back into the love of the game. Another one would be Dave Stamper. Now, nobody probably knows who Dave Stamper is, but Dave Stamper, passed away this last year, but Dave Stamper was an Indiana legend. So Dave Stamper never met a person he didn't love. He cooked on a whole contest on a backwoods party all the time. Dave was just the most amazing. He probably taught more people in the, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio people about barbecue than anybody that's ever taught a class will. And he never put on a class. He just would take people underneath his wing. And he was just one of the good guys. I mean, I think Hall of Fame, I think he's a guy that will never be there, but should be there, just because people don't know him. It kind of becomes a popularity thing. And, I would also, I'd put Bill Arnold right up there. I'm a little upset again with the Hall of Fame nomination that Bill's not on that list. I understand, but I don't understand. And are we out of spaces? Because I'd have to put my bride Sherry, because she puts up with all my.
Oh, there you go.
She's the heart and soul of, she let me do what I wanted to do, and Sherry, years ago, back in 2007, she said, "I tell you what, you want to open a restaurant, we'll open a restaurant. You got 10 years to do whatever you want to do. And then we're going to do what I want to do." Well, here we are in 2023. We're still doing what I love to do, but I think she kind of likes the money now. So I think I think she likes the lifestyle, even though she's one of the hardest working girls I've ever met. But she's my rock and soul.
That's a solid list. Both of y'all's lists are solid. And I love hearing about people that we don't know, or, a lot of us came up after you started, right? And you bring in some people that we would need to remember and think about. And these guys paved the way for a lot of these things to happen.
There's so many people that deserve the mention that they stopped cooking before I was cooking or around that time. Rod Gray, the first book I ever read was Paul Kirk's. He's a guy that could beat on the meat radar on the Mount Rushmore. And I think of guys like Tim Grant that were on fire for 5 years and decided not to cook. There's Darren, but Travis, Sterling. There's just some of these guys that were so dominant for a period of time that, man, it's hard to not at least mention them, No, I totally agree. It could go on and on and on. There's been a lot of influential people, in our success. There's been a lot of people. It's even the professional podcaster up there, Chris, or he's he was on one last night, or was that 2 nights ago, whatever. He's all over. I'm like, are him and Brad running a circuit of podcasts? Because
Brad and Bill, they're all three.
Oh yeah, Bill too.
You can catch him on every night of the week if you want.
Every night, yeah. Which, by the way, we just launched Cue the Mic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk. That's kind of an interesting thing, because I've fought it, and finally Emma, my social media gal, I call her, my digital marketing manager in house, she's like, "Darren, we're sick of hearing your stories. Okay, I think it's time you tell the world." And so we're like, okay, what are we going to talk about? Because she wanted a YouTube channel. I bought her all the equipment and all the cameras and lights and whatever. And I'm like, I ain't got time to shoot a YouTube channel. Oh, okay, how about a podcast? And I said, okay, well, I can fit a microphone and a camera in my backpack, and I can shoot from Florida, or I can shoot in the office, I can shoot at home, wherever I want to shoot. So we're like, okay, let's try this. We'll try and if we get past 2 or 3, we'll get to 100. So we've just launched, we just launched a few weeks ago. We got 3 episodes in. We just launched and, dropping the 4th one on Monday. Cue the Mic podcast, all the normal places. But, it's in the first 3 episodes, I'll be the first to tell you, are rough. So if you want to just wait till number 4, that's fine. I understand.
I'm in on 2 right now.
because my camera sucked, my mic was too far away, and I'm just learning this business. But I'm having a lot of fun telling stories, and we're trying to hit not just on competition barbecue, but really on the barbecue business and the catering business and just cooking in general. I mean, I love getting cooking videos from TikTok. I love yoga poses on TikTok.
I was gonna say I've seen the goat dancing on TikTok. I think, right?
Yeah. We danced on.
He's a soul man.
He's
A soul man, Mount Rushmore. There you go.
You mentioned, and I can't end this show without congratulating you on you were just this week nominated for the Barbecue Hall of Fame, the American Royal.
Yeah. I'm not old enough. I'm not sure why they keep putting my name on that damn thing. I'm not. It's fine. I mean, my wife tells me I have to be nice, so I'm being nice. Thank you for the nomination, but please don't screw up my American Royal and nominate or elect me to it this year. Wait till I'm old and don't care anymore.
You'll be up there on Saturday night, or is it Friday night? I can't remember when they do the inductions. And
I've got my speech already, though. I'm going to walk up and I'm going to go, I know you guys don't want to listen to this crap. I know you just want my brisket recipe. So here it is. And I'm going to recite my brisket recipe that I've won 70 some brisket championships with.
Oh yeah, that would be great. You do that. Because I will be there watching for sure.
Except he's going to get up there and say salt, pepper, and ketchup.
No, I won't do that. You want my brisket recipe? I'll give you my brisket recipe.
Guns hot, sim docs. No.
Well, it was last week. But no, I mean, I've been kind of doing the same brisket for years, and so it's nothing. There might be a little Freddy on there. There might be a little Papa on there. Might be a little black pepper or a lot on there. Might be a little Smoking Guns hot on there. It's just brisket. I have cooked salt and pepper, no injection brisket and turned it in Iowa and got a 180 before. So I love the pepper. I love the pepper on the brisket.
You've also done bone-in chicken breasts, so that's not saying much.
I've done bone-in chicken breast. I used to do spinner chicken years ago. We used to put thigh. I mean, when we first started, we cooked boneless, skinless thighs in a teriyaki marinade all night long. We'd put 15 or 20 in the box and just score like crazy, right? And then we went to spinner chicken, where we'd take a fish basket on a Weber grill with coals on both sides, and we'd buy these little 2.5 ounce, we called them quail thighs, and they were IQF frozen. We'd thaw out 15 of them. We'd just nothing, no injection, anything. We just put seasoning on them. We'd put them in a basket. We'd turn them for 12 minutes exactly. I had no idea what the temperature was. We just 12 minutes, and we just turn them in, and we just killed it. I could go back.
So let's see here. So we do this fun little thing we've been doing. It's our third week to do it. And we have 2 world champions on here, and these guys are brave. They've sent in pictures of their boxes, and we call this hashtag rate my box. And so do y'all want to there it is right there, hashtag rate my box. Do you want to look at some of these? And we're down here we have a 10 scale, so it's 10, 9, 8, 7 as opposed
so we're rating the boxes.
You're gonna rate. I'm gonna show them for 10 seconds, because basically what a judge will get, right? To get a little 10-second view of this box. And we already talked about how we don't really, or Darren doesn't really put too much emphasis into the appearance of these things. Obviously it comes down to the taste and tenderness, but I think it's fun. So we'll get a couple world champion views on these. Let me pull these up real quick, and we're only gonna do a couple. Let's see, open. The first one will be a brisket box, and if you guys want to claim the box, you're welcome to in the comments. But we're gonna pull this one up first. This is the brisket, and then it might look a little different to you guys. We only do 4 here. So here we go. First one. All right, we'll pull that down. Gooder gang, let's put your comments in there. Initial thoughts, Darren.
I'm going 8. I'd like it to look a little juicier, but I love meatloaf style.
Is this out of 9 or is this out of 10?
That's 8 out of 10.
Okay, out of 10. All right, Chris.
I give it a 9. I'd eat it. I agree with Darren. Maybe a little more juice on it, but looks good. Good color.
Yeah,
we got 9. Somebody's giving it a 10. Might be his box. 9.
And,
8.
in person, it could have very easily been a 10.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's just all subjective, right? It's just something fun we're doing here. All right, we'll do a. Let's see what else we got in here. Why aren't these loading? Let me hold on one second. We're gonna do a rib box next.
They all look the same.
They do, right? They do. Here's the rib box. 10 seconds. All righty, we'll pull that down. Chris, I'll let you start on this one.
I'm going to say a 10 because I don't, off the bat, see a reason to knock it down necessarily. Good, thick rib, nice color.
Those were some thick-ass ribs, whoever box that was. That was nice. Darren?
I'm real close. I'm like, can I do a 9.5? Sure. The sauce on the bottom one's bugging me. But other than that, it looks. I do want to eat it. That's how I would judge a box.
Let me see
I want to grab
sauce
it and eat it.
on the bottom.
You see the sauce dripping down the front there?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be that picky. If I break that out, it's an 11. Okay, it just bugs me. 9.5. Those
bones were thick, man. Those are some thick ass bones.
Are those some can ribs? Look at that pullback.
Yeah, that's pretty sharp. They're good. If you want to claim that box, go for it. That was a pretty box. The Gooder Gang is given 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9. All right. Let's do a couple more here, and then we'll end the rate my box segment. We'll do a pork box. Pork is all over the place here on some of these. Not in a bad way. Just you can do so much, right? You can be very creative with pork. All right. We'll do. Here's the first pork box we'll show. 10 seconds, Gooder Gang. Here we go. It's a full box. I'll say that. All right, I'm going to pull this down. Here we go. Darren, Mr.
I'm going 10. I love it. I just want to. I just want to eat it. I hate pork. I know. I haven't tasted my own pork in years, but it just makes me want to eat that box. I love it.
I thought the money muscles were very uniform. They were big.
Yeah.
Thick. Chris?
Maybe a 9. I think the pile of chunks in the front is kind of detracts from the money muscle a little bit, but it could be a 10 in person. It's a good looking box.
But Chris is a can guy, so you got to have bacon in there.
I don't turn in bacon.
Let's see what the Gooder Gang is saying on this one. Did y'all vote 9, 10, 10, 9? Holy pork, 10, 9. Cubes are uneven. Monies look great. Okay. We are being very overly critical on some of these things. Although I do feel like the KCBS judges who've been trained and now they've done a few of these things, they're pretty picky on some of the stuff that they like to point out. Our judges are right off the street. So it was like, yeah, it looks good. We're in. Here's another pork box.
You made the noise that I was thinking.
Okay. We got about 3, 2, 1. We will pull that down. Gooder Gang, what say you guys on that last pork box? All right, 8. Ooh, somebody gave it a 6, which is the poorest score you can give on appearance. 10.
Oh, it is?
10.
Oh.
In CBA it is. No, I'm sorry. 7 is the poorest in CBA. 7, 7, 7. Wow. All right. Darren, you got the first.
It probably won.
Probably.
But I still think it's a 7.
Chris?
Yeah,
I'm say 7. You 7. All right.
I was gonna say 7. Then you said those worst score you were getting. I was like, maybe an 8. I don't know.
So it's rated excellent, good, fair, poor is the way that's worded.
Maybe. Okay. Well,
maybe
if you would have said that ahead of time, then it's probably an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It wasn't poor.
No, it wasn't poor. Let's see. We got one chicken.
It just kind of looks like it was thrown across the trailer into the box. Or the old Tuffy Stone Shake. That was mine. Well, guess what? Work on it.
That was not. Hold on. That was not Renee's. Corby owned it. I just added him. But it was a perfect score, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Tasted great.
I'm telling you, it tasted great.
And you're right. Probably won. Darren, you said it. Probably
exactly.
won. All right, and the last one will be a chicken box of the night. And Chris is familiar with half chickens. And so is Darren. Darren won a half chicken. All right.
A lot of them.
All right, he'll pull this down. Initial thoughts, Chris.
If I'm being hypercritical, I'm gonna say a 9. I think, I don't know, not a lot of color, kind of all one tone there, but I don't know. There's also no real reason to knock it down if I'm not being hypercritical. So right. 9, maybe 10.
Darren,
I like the 10. I love that's what my chicken looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the lighter. I like the very light sauce on it. Makes me want to eat it. I'm not a big fan of dark sauces and gloppy and whatever. I really like the just light sauce.
Gooder Gang giving a lot of 10s, 9s, a couple of 8s in there. 8s, explain yourself, Bell. I will say I'm with you, Chris. I do like a little char. I think a judge might look at that and think may not be done, especially if they're cooking it to like 160 where it's pretty juicy in there. They may like, is this done or not?
I think it was Adam Gotra that said you want your chicken to look like a hostage situation. So I learned to cook ugly chicken.
He is the king of the grill grate. Put that chicken on the grill grate and spin it, and oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it needs jail stripes. I'm not a big fan of that myself, but I think it needs a little flippage, a little char on it for my taste.
Burn that wingtip.
Yeah, burn that wings. That was okay, AJ. That was my pork and ribs all on cans. Not the first one, I guess. Oh, your ribs were.
I thought the ribs were canned ribs. I've never seen a pullback on a regular cooker like that.
That's unless
there's some secret. I mean, I remember years ago they used to have a trick where they'd take an X-Acto knife around the end of the rib and then spray it with beef broth as it was cooking, trying to get it to pull back. I'm like,
that's a little much.
I've seen the Sharpie cap trick too, where they take a Sharpie cap and push the meat down around the bones.
Really?
Yeah.
With the wow.
AJ says, "Show my brisket." All right, let me see if I got one more brisket in here.
I'm giving him a 7 just because he's trying to get it up there.
Yeah, I think he's proud of it. Let's see what it looks like.
We should have put our boxes on that won the Royal and the Jack, because people are like, no way, there's no way, just because they're, I guarantee, mediocre barbecue. I mean,
speak for yourself, Darren.
Oh yeah, I know you're okay, Travis. I mean, I know you're.
All right, we got one more since AJ really wants us to show this brisket, and it's AJ's brisket, people. God's Country Barbecue, who won brisket category in CBA last year. So this is the top brisket cook in Texas in 2022. Here we go. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. I got nothing to say about that. That's me personally. I like it. I don't know that there are schools of thought about keeping that that point meat at the bottom.
I love it.
That's
like 11 or 12 to me.
Oh, yeah. All right, Darren, the goat giving you an 11.
I can taste the fat. I can just feel it easing between my teeth. Yeah, that looks
Chris,
good.
are you cutting that point off?
I was. Yeah, I was. I was practicing, from Texas, leave that on some. But I just run my normal KCBS brisket.
Yeah. Here you can leave it on. I think it's a take it or leave it. I think maybe if I were up doing a KCBS, I might trim it. Darren, are you trimming that point off of there, or are you leaving it?
Yeah, I would trim it. If I was in Texas, I'd probably still trim it. Yeah, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, one judge might hate it, and then you're screwed. Two, then you're out.
Right.
Then you're out. All right, mouth watering, Louis. AJ, great looking brisket, man. That was AJ Garza from God's Country. Corby with the perfect 200 brisket or pork score, and he posted. I saw his. There it is, right there. Where's it at? Corby with the 200 pork, which is a perfect score in CBA.
I know
that was fun.
None of these guys have taken the Bill Purvis photography class.
No, they have not. Bill is great at that. Bill cooks amazing food to begin with, but then he gets into his light box and does some amazing things. I heard the other day on the other show that you sent him a photo and he sent it back to you, right, Chris?
Yeah, that was in New Caney, Texas. I sent him my pork box and he put it on a tilt and added a filter and sent it back. And I'm like, whose box is that? It looks great.
That's yours, man. That is
my pork.
There he is right there. Bill got 7 GCs. He's going automatic to the Jack.
Jack, yeah.
Any advice for him? I think this is his first time at the Jack.
It is?
Just cook.
Just go. Just enjoy. Take it all in. Yeah. Take it all in. I mean, everybody, it's really weird. People want to go to the Jack. I mean, and I still want to go to the Jack, but it's not the best contest in the world. I mean, there's a lot of history there and everybody wants to win the Jack, but it's just, sometimes I wonder why, because it's not necessarily all the best cooks in the country. It's the luckiest cooks. I mean, yeah, you got the 7 winners, like, Bill and whatever, but then you can have somebody that wins one contest and gets into the Jack, and you got somebody else in that state that has 6 that doesn't get in.
Yeah.
And it's about marketing, it's about marketing for the Jack.
I think what it is, and you mentioned it earlier, and I mentioned it earlier, is like the experience of winning the Jack is like nothing else. Like when I won the KCBS Invitational, within minutes, it's cleared out. There's no press. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no follow-up or anything. Like the Jack is like still doing stuff for me in my restaurant 6 months later. And like winning it, all your friends mobbing you the whole way to the stage and people sticking around. I mean, like that feeling of winning the Jack is like nothing else, and I haven't won the Royal, obviously, but I think that's what it is, man. Like the atmosphere is so much different,
Yeah, it is. It is special, Bill. Just go take it in, go show up on Tuesday, take it. I mean, you just have to experience. I mean, I think we've been 12 or 13 times. And so to us, it's old hat. And I'm like, I don't care if I go to the Jack. And then you get left out for a year and you're like, oh, I really want to go to the Jack, but I can't figure out why.
Something I didn't put down on my notes, Rob, is that when Darren won the Royal in 18, the next month he went and reserved the Jack too. So he had a pretty decent year.
Well, I threw it. I threw it that year.
Well, you gave it to Butcher.
You remember? I threw I actually
didn't Butcher RGC the Royal.
Yeah, we swapped, and
yeah,
and so that was the contest that 2 weeks before I decided I was doing all pulled pork at the Jack. I wasn't turning money muscle. I was doing all pulled pork, and I just had it in my mind. And my wife's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just turning in all pulled pork." And I told everybody at the place that I was turning pulled pork. They're like, "You're shitting me. You won't do that." And I'm like, "You watch me." So I turned in this beautiful box of pulled pork because I'm like, I'm not getting judged against, they're older judges. I'm just going to give them a good box of pulled pork. And so we go through and I get 5th in chicken. I win ribs with a 180. No call in pork and like 3rd in brisket. I had this thing won hands down until I got 53rd in pork.
Dang it.
And 52nd in pork, I win.
Oh man.
And Sherry, even to the point, I just had these beautiful, I cooked the money mussels, had these beautiful money mussels. She's like, just turn them in. Come on, just slice them. Just put them on top right there. Just put them on top. I'm like, nope. Tore them up right in front of her and threw them in the box. I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, that was probably not the best move ever, but that's right.
Darren, have you done Memphis in May? Is this anything on your horizon or anything that you want to try?
I did that once. It was the worst $25,000 I ever spent. It's
different.
Well, it's just it, and I don't want to. Maybe I'm just going to say it. It's a popularity contest, right? I mean, when Tim Shear or Brad or that team, they're the first team that's won in 17 years that wasn't a television personality. I was sitting the year we did it. I was right across from Melissa Cookston and Pete, her husband. I'm sitting there talking with Pete, and they're going around, and finals had been announced, and Pete says, "Well, let me tell you about it." And here comes the finals judges. He goes, "See that gal over there? Yeah, she's going to pick whoever's in ribs, whoever has the best rib, and that other person over there, yep, that other judge, yep, he's going to do pork unless there's not a celebrity." Then they're going to go whole hog. And then he explained every one of these judges to me. And he goes, "Well, looks like either Tuffy or Chris is winning today." And Tuffy won. And it was like, it just soured me.
I would be too.
I mean, it just soured me going, okay, wait a second. And you still got a blind box. That's still 60%. You still got to turn in good food.
Yeah.
But it's an expensive, it's mayhem. I see why people like it. And I'm glad we experienced it, but I'm not. Even if somebody wants me to go cook with them, I'm probably going to decline.
That's it is one of the majors, the top.
It is only one we haven't won. That's the reason I did it. And I cooked ribs, because I've won ribs on every stage, and so it was the only world championship in ribs that I don't have, and so and that was probably a mistake. Ribs hadn't won in 17 years either. And it's just that whole hog and shoulder is just there's such a big story to tell. It's just throwing out a rack of ribs.
I think that rib string is still intact. They haven't won.
Yeah, it is
for however long it's been. Well, gentlemen, this has been amazing. 2 hours in. Aaron says, "Chris, you look tired," because he's got a restaurant to run as well.
I've been up since 3.
And same for Darren. So I appreciate you guys.
I got up at 4:10.
I appreciate you guys sticking around this late. I said it, it's an hour show, but lately they've been 2 hours, and you guys were having fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this time on this show, man, because it's been an honor having both of you guys on.
It was fun.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
Darren, that was awesome. That was great. I appreciate you again, and I will hopefully won't be the last time, and I'll be checking out the Cue the Mic. That is QUE, guys, like barbecue. Cue the Mic.
QUE the Mic, yeah. And like I said, the first 3 episodes are pretty rough, and I'm dealing with a 24-year-old that we disagree on a lot of things. And it somewhat shows. I try and keep it non-political, but just I'm here to share my story and share a little bit about business for people wanting to come out. And we're talking about portion sizes for graduation parties. It's just something trying to help people that want to cater.
Yeah, exactly.
That want to cater and whatever. Would you miss Freddie? Nothing. Go back to bed.
Yeah. Pork steaks.
I thank you guys. I'm seeing a lot of good greens. Say great show tonight. Great show. It was awesome having both of you guys on. I hope you guys enjoyed that Rate My Box. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
We've been doing that lately. Next week on the show, next Wednesday, there will not be a show because I will be traveling to Memphis in May. I'm not competing by myself. I am doing the poultry entry, the chicken and the turkey. So
who are you cooking with?
Smokin Hoggers, Norm LaPichelle.
Norm LaPichelle.
Yeah. Joey is I'm going over there with Joey. Phenomenal show. Look at you guys, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. And thank you again, Chris Schafer from Heavy Smoke BBQ, Darren Warth, the GOAT, and producer Ty. Ty, say hello real quick, Ty. There you are.
What's going on? Be sure and subscribe and like to the So Smokin Gooder Show. Shut up and listen.
That's my 24-year-old Darren. He's back there
I'm 48. What are you talking about?
Got the same haircut as me.
Yeah. Ty's been putting all the big bills up there and all of that in there. So it's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around for 2 hours. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning into the show. And Darren, again, thank you so much. Chris, I know you'll be back. Darren, I hope to have you back one day.
Yep.
It'll be awesome. And good luck. wherever you guys are cooking this week.
Thanks for having us.
All right, that's going to wrap
See you
it
guys.
up, guys. Thank you very much. We are out.